On the spot news media, we got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype, we make it take flight.
Yeah, man, my viewers and subscribers, what go on. A blessed and wonderful Friday morning to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. Now, my peeps, you don't know how we do it over on this side each and every morning. We have to give thanks and praise to the Most High Creator for the preservation of life, because life is indeed the greatest. So in the morning, my peeps, I have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Chan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we are going in a Jamaica. So now my peeps, to the name Friday, the day when Mr. Smile pan some of the ones and ones them pocket. So whilst traversing the streets, going about your regular business, please safe travel pan the gravel, and always remember, look out on the corner yeah, cause the old dirty corner boy them always out there. Alerts, yeah man. So I just hope that the regular members of Chan Public and also the members of the diaspora out there is tuning in to a new feature from the Spot News Media called A Word to the Wise. Now, A Word to the Wise is geared to give you just a little something to help you get through your day. A little bit of motivation, some inspiration, or some spiritual upliftment. So tune in to A Word to the Wise, which will be posted each and every morning at 5 a.m. Jamaican time. Yeah, man. So as we approach another weekend, we don't know how the weekend them set in the country, sadly. And we close out another work week, which was rather bloody. Boy, may I tell you, the knockings and clappings, my peeps, continues. So we're going to kick it off over there in the Garden Parish of Senton, where the police in Senton is presently investigating the knockings and clappings of a 94-year-old man who lost his life to the hands of criminal elements. The 94-year-old man has since been identified as Kenneth Doeman, a retired public health inspector. The man gets some serious can up all over his upper body and head by criminal elements at his home yesterday. So reports from the police suggest that sometime around 4:30 p.m. the man was at home in the Huntley Crescent area of Brownstown in St. Anne when a lone criminal element entered his dwelling home and fired several shots, hitting the retired civil servant repeatedly. He was, however, taken to the hospital where he was pronounced you know what. Now the police are stating that they have not yet established a motive for that knockings and clappings. Now what on earth could possibly happen for them go take the life of a 94-year-old man in such a brutal and grisly manner? 94 in a peeps. We're not talking about 49. We are talking about 94 years old. Just a shy away from a century. The man lived 94 years of life to come lose it in such a fashion. Boy, may I tell you, my peeps, the thing rough. So I want to take this time right now, my peeps, to offer my most sincere condolences to the bereaved families of 94-year-old Kenneth Doeman, a retired public health inspector. Boy, Chano. But anyway, make we saggle further west. You don't know. Without St. James being mentioned, the news literally can't happen. since these past couple of days. Now, St. James has been rocked with yet again another double murder. The bloodletting continues in St. James. So on Wednesday night in the community of Roehampton, the same community where knockings and clappings go on resulted in the loss of life of a man just a day or two before this one. So the deceased men in this brutal double knockings and clappings has since been identified as this man presently on your screen, 23-year-old Linston Anderson, otherwise known as Blacks in the Streets. The next man presently on your screen has since been identified as 20-year-old Tavr Doeman, otherwise known as Ravers in the Streets. Both men are said to be from the Roehampton community in St. James. So according to the police report, sometime about 10:30 p.m, the men were at a location in the community when a lone criminal element approached them and opened fire, hitting both men repeatedly. Another man was also injured in that brutal onslaught. The police were summoned and Anderson and Doeman was seen suffering from a portion to carnap wounds. They later succumbed to their injuries. The other injured man, luckily for him, he managed to escape and was assisted to the hospital where he's currently being treated. Detectives from the Major Investigation Divisions are probing that knockings and clappings incident. Now we don't know for sure yet if both the recent knockings and clappings and this one is connected. But as always, my peeps, On The Spot News Media will definitely stay on the ground and uncover what is really happening in the community of Roehampton. So now, my peeps, another knockings and clappings took place on that same night. This time in the community of Tucker. The community of Tucker, of course, is definitely no stranger to violence, as knockings and clappings has been normalized in the Tucker community, sadly. Now we have a person on your screen right now who is no longer among the land of the living, as criminal elements took her life in a hail of bullets. She has since been identified as Andrea Hanson. She's of a retirement district address in St. Ann. And it is also said that she's currently employed to the CDC. It is reported by the police, though, that sometime about 7:30 p.m, Miss Hanson was seated at a car wash that she operates with a male companion in that car. The police report continues to say that minutes later, a vehicle drove up and two armed men armed with handguns alighted and ran over to Miss Hanson. She was chased by the criminal elements and conned up multiple times. Inside the vehicle, her body was seen laying to the side of the vehicle after the knockings and clappings incident concluded. It is said that the criminal elements escaped in a waiting motor car. The police was summoned, and upon their arrival, she was rushed to the hospital where she was pronounced you know what. Now, this is a rather controversial circumstances, because the knockings and clappings there of Andrea can definitely come from anywhere. Because Andrea get herself mixed up in a whole heap of bangarang. Because when I can see criminal elements come slap over 12 can pan one woman, you know for sure so them come with an agenda for name our food and broke the plate. So watch this now. I'm pretty sure one must be wondering what On The Spot News Media attack about. Who remember old dirty kind of boy we get clapped with by a half-duty policeman sometime last year that goes by the name of Cadmar? Cadmar is presently on your screen. Cadmar, a known criminal element, had a relationship under the shadows with Andrea, and persons in the criminal underworld would have known this. She's also the baby mother of another controversial figure, and she was in a back and forth relationship with that other controversial figure. Who we attack? A youth that goes by the name of Delmar. Yeah, man. Now, we all know, say, Cadmar and her used to involve before he met his demise. So the ones and ones them in a tucker, I look left, I look right, hand pan jaw, mouth open, wide, because them a wonder where the knockings and clappings could have come from. Because it definitely could have come from the enemy, or it could be an internal thing. Forget her out, because them know for sure that she heavily mix up and twine up in a certain things where I go on. So one of the theories presently in the streets is that that hit may be, just maybe, coming from enemy lines. So they are making it seems as if the enemy, who goes by the name of Jim Brown, one of Cadmar's rival, probably had a hand in it. But there's also a next twist to it, where it could also be an internal thing, and someone very close to her may have been the trigger man. Yeah, man. So watch this now. Mobile, St. James. I'm pretty sure you don't know them two names here. I got call two names for you. Pepe and Shati. You remember when them two men get picked up by the police and was taken to jail, and a suspicion of a knockings and clappings were going down a bogue? Yeah, man. Now we all know the affiliation between Pepe and the woman who end up lose her 3 pints. Now, is it just coincidence that as Pepe get let out of jail, Andrea lose her 3 pints the same night? Just something for you to think about. Make me left it right there, so. Yeah, man. Now over there in the People's Arcade, definitely has become a criminal hotbed, and a hotbed for people lose them 3 pints. Now our next man end up lose them 3 pints over the People's Arcade. A man identified as Llewellyn Housen, otherwise known as Indian or Brown Man. He's of a race course address in the parish of Trelawney. Now, the police report suggests that sometime around 3 a.m., residents heard a portion Takana beat over there, and definitely alerted the police. So police personnel from the Barnett Street police station arrived on that scene, and upon their arrival, the lawmen saw Hanson, who was discovered partially nude, lying on his bed with a portion Takana wounds all over his upper body and head. The room was also ransacked. So we wonder if robbery was the motive for that one. We don't know for sure, but most definitely, as always, On The Spot News Media will continue to make checks and update you, the regular members of Chan Public, and also members of the diaspora in subsequent newscast. So anyway, my peeps, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in subsequent newscast. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.